Someone asks how your weekend was. You say, fine, thanks. They say, that is great. And somewhere deep inside you, a tiny piece of your soul quietly leaves the building. You smile. You nod. You say, yeah, it was good. And the whole time your brain is screaming, why are we talking about nothing when we could be talking about everything? If small talk makes you want to disappear, there's a fascinating reason why, and it says something remarkable about how your brain is wired. Here's the reframe. Hating small talk is not rudeness. It's not shyness. It's not a social disorder. It is what happens when a brain built for depth gets trapped in shallow water. And the science behind it is more interesting than any small talk conversation you have ever had. Let's start with something called need for cognition. This is a psychological trait that describes how much a person enjoys thinking deeply, analyzing ideas, exploring complexity, sitting with a difficult question until it reveals something real. People with high need for cognition find surface-level conversation genuinely unsatisfying, not because they're arrogant, but because their brain is hungry for something that small talk simply cannot provide. Asking someone what they do for work feels like ordering a meal and getting an empty plate. Research from the University of Arizona found something fascinating. People who engaged in more substantive conversations reported significantly higher levels of well-being and life satisfaction than those who spent more time in small talk. Think about that. The conversations you've been avoiding your entire life are literally the ones your brain needs most. And small talk, the thing society insists you do to seem normal, actively leaves you feeling emptier than before. But why does small talk feel so physically draining for some people? It comes down to how their brain processes social interaction. Introverts and highly sensitive people use more of their brain when processing conversations. They go deeper, they read between the lines, they notice everything. Small talk demands their full processing power while giving them almost nothing meaningful in return. It's like running a powerful engine to move 1 inch. The energy cost makes no sense, and their nervous system knows it. There's also a connection to something called Dunbar's number, the theory by anthropologist Robin Dunbar suggesting that humans can only maintain around 150 meaningful relationships at any given time. People who hate small talk aren't trying to connect with everyone. They're trying to find the few worth a real connection. Small talk feels like a waste of the limited social energy they have, not because they don't care about people, because they care so much they refuse to spend that energy on conversations that lead nowhere. Here's the nuance, though. Small talk actually serves a real biological function. It signals safety. It tells another person, I'm not a threat. We're on the same side. Research on social bonding shows that even meaningless exchanges release small amounts of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Small talk is essentially social grooming, and in the right context, it genuinely matters. The person who skips it entirely can come across as cold or intimidating, even when they're the warmest person in the room. So the goal isn't to eliminate small talk, it's to understand what you're really looking for underneath it. People who hate small talk aren't antisocial, they're pre-social. They're waiting for the conversation to get real. They're standing at the door of a meaningful exchange, wondering why everyone keeps talking about the weather instead of walking through. If you're someone who has spent your whole life feeling slightly out of place at parties, exhausted after networking events, and genuinely confused about why people talk so much while saying so little, you're not broken. You're not cold. You're not antisocial. You're someone whose brain was built for depth in a world obsessed with surfaces. In the right conversations, the ones that actually matter, are worth every awkward small talk exchange it takes to find them. Subscribe if this felt uncomfortably accurate, because the next video goes even deeper into the psychology of how introverts and deep thinkers process the world differently and why that might be your greatest advantage.